North Korea has ignored US efforts to find out how American soldier Travis King is doing after he shocked the world Tuesday by crossing into North Korea via the Inter-Korean Joint Security Area. If you didn't catch the details of how he did it, check out the video linked in the description. But with every hour that passes since his unexpected action, questions about him, about what's happened to him, are growing. We now also have a few more details about 23-year-old Private Second Class King. There's a photo of him circling in the media wearing military uniform with a US flag behind him, and further footage taken from his tour group shows the man himself looking across the border wearing a dark shirt and cap. Here's what some of the eyewitnesses had to say.
It all happened pretty quickly. I probably only saw him running for like a few seconds, and that's all it would have taken to get across the border. And then, a couple of seconds after I saw him, that's when the soldiers shouted and started running after him. And then they told us to get in the building. So it was all a bit of a scramble, and it all happened very quickly.
Legal sources have also been cited by Yonhap News Agency, revealing how he was fined close to $4,000 in February for causing nearly $500 worth of damage to a police car that had been responding to an assault report in Seoul last October. As well as allegedly using insulting language against local authorities, he reportedly kicked the police patrol vehicle's door. Back in September 2022, there was another accusation that he assaulted a Korean national in a Seoul nightclub, but the victim did not want to press charges. Fast forward to this week, and he managed to avoid being returned to the US, instead ending up in North Korea. And the most pressing question is, how will North Korea deal with him? For now, the US has been met with silence in its efforts to discover King's whereabouts and status. This is what American State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller had to say in a Washington briefing Wednesday.
In terms of contacts with foreign governments, yesterday the Pentagon reached out to counterparts in the Korean People's Army. My understanding is that those communications have not yet been answered.
Frankly, at this stage, we don't even know if he's still alive. There was a case in 2020 when a South Korean official found drifting at sea by North Korea was shot to death and his body burned, according to Seoul's defense ministry. Another infamous previous incident took place in 2008 when a South Korean tourist who'd been allowed to visit the North was killed after wandering into a restricted zone. If you're thinking the North wouldn't do that to an American, well, we do also have the horrific case of Otto Warmbier, who died in 2017 after being imprisoned in North Korea, as we highlighted in that previous video. But there are past situations that offer more hope that things will be resolved amicably for all sides concerned, particularly if the US can make headway through dialogue. For example, in 2018, North Korea freed 3 American detainees ahead of a then unprecedented summit between US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And one very curious incident in 2014 saw a man in his 20s, Matthew Miller, not to be confused with the State Department spokesperson of the same name, actually tried to get arrested when he arrived in North Korea as a tourist. He succeeded, being sentenced to 6 years of hard labor before being released with the support of the US, albeit 6 months after his initial detention. The problem is that right now the prospects for dialogue between Pyongyang and Washington are not bright. North Korea's for some time been ignoring calls for talks from the current US administration, and even after this week's incident at the JSA, South Korea and the US continue their policy of strengthening their joint military stance in the face of North Korean threats, something that may infuriate Pyongyang. For instance, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol even boarded the USS Kentucky Wednesday, the first US nuclear-capable ballistic missile submarine to be deployed to the Korean Peninsula since the early 1980s. Yoon warned we will make North Korea not even dream of carrying out a nuclear provocation. The North may see Travis King as a chance to send its own message, whatever that may be. Please like and subscribe so we can keep you updated. And feel free to comment what you think will or should happen next.